So in case the title didn't give it away, yes, this video, with the exception of this voiceover intro that I'm doing right now, but the video itself was completely edited by AI. I gave it some clips, answered a couple of questions, and just let it do its thing. It is not remotely perfect, so I cannot consider this to be an actual guide. So please do not follow it as such, because I don't want you to damage anything, break anything, etc. But I think it was kind of an interesting little project to see how well AI could do versus a actual human being at video editing. Like I said, it's not perfect. There can be some segments that are out of line, out of time, some audio missing. There might be some strange jump cuts, etc. So again, this is not a guide. However, I will do a follow-up going over everything, the process that I went through, my thoughts, why I think it did this versus this, and just the overall, feel. But yeah, the rest of this video is going to be all AI. Please watch the whole thing, leave some comments below your thoughts, and like I said, I will do a follow-up. Thanks. So for those that don't remember, this is a PS3 Super Slim that I refurbished a while back. Tore it apart, gave it a full cleaning, replaced some of the missing plastic pieces, etc. A proper refurbishing. But what I want to do today is replace the hard drive inside, mechanical spinning drive, with just an SSD, and also give it a little bit of an upgrade too in storage space, because the one that's inside here I believe is 300 some gigs. That's going to be 512. So to do that though requires you to also have a USB drive with a copy of the system software that you have either on the system or newer, and I'll show you how to prepare that in a little bit. But once you've got that all done, it's just as simple as removing the drive, putting a new one in there, plugging the system back in, turning it on, and following the prompts on screen. So I'm going to go ahead now and we'll prepare the USB drive. Okay, now that you have everything set up for the USB drive, the next thing we have to do is remove the old hard drive. Now on the Super Slim, it's going to be on the right side. This panel just kind of slides over, and you'll see here there's a blue screw, and you remove that screw, the drive slides out, and that's all there is to it. Now mind you, this process will work on pretty much any PS3. It's just where the drive is located is going to be different. And the process is going to be very similar on the PS4 as well if you want to upgrade or replace that hard drive. And for this, we're just going to go with a PH1 size bit. And it should just, you can even go with a PH0, it looks like. But one will suffice. This is not a captive screw, so don't lose it. Nope, this is only a 250 gig drive, so this is going to be pretty much doubling the storage on here. But once you've got the drive removed from the cage, there'll be 4 additional screws you have to remove from the actual cage itself to free the drive completely. Again, these are not captive screws, so do not lose them. Also be very mindful of these rubber grommets that are here that act as kind of like a vibration suppression system. They are kind of old and they're probably deteriorating a little bit. Mine seem to be kind of half intact, so I'm not going to remove them. They're probably good enough. But yeah, there's the drive right there. This one still works. I'll hold on to it somewhere safe, but all I have to do is then just put your new drive in, making sure that the SATA connectors are facing outward. Otherwise, it will not be able to click back in. So all I have to do is just line up the holes again, put the screws back in, and that's all there is to it. Now, you may have to hold the drive until you can at least get one screw in to keep everything lined up correctly. I recommend getting at least 2 of them in at opposite corners, just to make it easier for yourself. There. And there it is. And all that's left to do is just to put it back into the PS3 and lock everything back up. And that's it. We've replaced the hard drive. Now let's go ahead and I'm going to hook this back up to the television, power, etc. And we'll continue on. Okay, so now that everything's hooked up, I'm going to go ahead and turn the system on. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold the power button until I hear a second beep. And I'll explain why in a minute. So you turn it on once and hold it. You hear the first beep. Hear the second beep. Let go of the power button. Now I'm doing it this way because I actually tried it the traditional way where you just turn it on by default, follow the on-screen prompts, but it kept showing up with errors. And I decided I'm going to do it this way instead. Either way, you're going to get this first screen here where it asks you to plug the controller in with the USB cable and then push the PS button. And then you'll get this second screen as well too. So you push and hold select and start at the same time, and it'll attempt to read the update file on the USB drive. Now, I did goof up when I created the original USB disk, when I prepared the thumb drive, that is. So I said to put the PS3 updat.pup file into the update folder, which is correct. But I forgot to mention that you also need to have a PS3 folder at the root of the drive. So there's PS3, and then there's update, and then within the update folder is the update file itself. If you don't have it in that order, the PS3 will not be able to find the update file. Now this will probably take oh, here we go. So now you have to push and hold the start and select buttons at the same time for at least 5 seconds because it's warning you that, hey, whatever's on here is going to be gone. So I'll hold it for 5 seconds. And there we go. We'll let it do its thing. Now, depending on the size of the drive and all of that, it could take some time for the drive to be formatted and properly set up by the system. So we will pause and come back when there's something new to show. Okay, and it's going to show that it's formatting. This part probably isn't going to take too long, judging by how fast the percentages are going up, but we'll pause it again when something new comes up on screen. All right, I just missed it. It was at 100%, so I apologize. The screen did blank though, and I believe it is rebooting. Now, if you run into errors, first thing to do is just shut everything down and turn it back on again. All right, so here we go, PS3 system software version 4.81. Press the PS button, checking for update data. You'll also notice that the screen is in 4:3 mode and the resolution is probably set to 480p or maybe 720p. It's kind of blurry. So, all right, so we have to read through this entire thing. Actually, we won't. We'll just accept, and we'll use X to accept. It says here, do not turn the system off. Otherwise, you know, you're on to issues. So we'll go ahead and hit X again, and it'll install the update and the software onto the new hard drive that you put in. But again, if you're having issues, turn it off, turn it back on, start over again. If you're having any kind of error message or any kind of error messages or anything like that, typically it's because either the thumb drive itself is not formatted as FAT32, the update file is not in the correct folders, or even the replacement hard drive is not formatted correctly. Now, out of the box, it should be formatted as FAT32. Actually, I take it back. Out of the box, it won't have any partitions on it at all. If you try to format this on a Mac, it'll try to format it using the HFS or even the APFS file system. You can't use that. You want it to use the FAT32 file system, and you want to make sure that it's formatted using MBR and not GPT. Windows, it'll try to format it as NTFS, and it may set it up as a GPT partition. That isn't going to work. So if you're having issues, go back and make sure it is reformatted correctly, GPT and FAT32. I mean, make sure it's formatted correctly MBR, and FAT32. If you don't know how to do that, I'll try to include some links below to show you how to do that. That's not part of this tutorial here, just because it would take a long time and it's going to vary depending on what kind of system you're using. Whereas, you know, Windows 7, Windows 8, Windows 10, 11, versus, you know, different versions of Mac OS. You might be using Linux or some other operating system. So here we are, it's done installing. And we should be ready to go. So I'm going to go ahead and just set it up as you would, as if it was brand new. This will adjust the resolution to 1080p, hopefully. And yes. And basically from here on out, it's going to be just like setting up a brand new PS3. So I'm going to stop this here because that's beyond the scope of this video here. I was going to do this no matter what. And I figured, no, let me turn it into a teaching moment. So yeah, I did struggle initially. I kept getting various errors, tried different thumb drives, reformatted them, re-downloaded the firmware. Finally got a good combination that worked by also holding down the power button until I heard the second beep. Whenever I just did it with the one beep, no matter what I did, it wouldn't work. So if you're trying to follow Sony's steps or some sort of guide online and you're having issues, don't just power it on, hold the power button down until you hear the two beeps. So I'm going to go ahead and finish setting this up off camera so that I can go back to enjoying it. And that's it. If you guys have any questions or comments or anything, leave them down below. Otherwise, thanks all, and I will catch you later.